Hello, Barendipitous here with another video for the board game shelf. Here showing off Eldritch horror. So early on in my wife and I, and when my wife as in my wife and I's board game collection, spree essentially over the past number of years, um, we we've gravitated towards a few board game publishers that we like, and one of them is Fantasy Flight Games. And Fantasy Flight Games, they've made a lot of like Cthulhu games. They've also worked with a lot of other IPs as well. Um, uh, my wife's siblings, my siblings-in-laws had another Fantasy Flight game called Arkham Horror, which is similar to this one, except in Arkham Horror, you are a bunch of investigators trying to maintain, trying to like help save the city of Arkham. But in Eldritch Horror, you're trying to save the world. The scope is much larger. So to kind of show you what I mean here, I know I always struggle with showing off boards here because of the limited space I have here, but essentially you can see half of the world here with various locations you can go to. And then, oh gosh. How's this? What? Okay, I see. So yeah. Various locations across the world, and of course, and the map does keep going, but I think you get the idea. It is a world map, and so instead of an Arkham map, you are going around the world, and it's a very deep game. There's a lot going on. There's a rule book, and then there's also a reference guide as well. We also did get there are a number of expansions as well, and we did get a couple of them. I was interested in Signs of Carcosa because I'm a fan of anything associated with like the key in yellow and like Haster and like Carcosa is a reference to the king in yellow. And then we got this one, Forsaken Lore, because when we did some research on which expansions were best, this was considered one of the best expansions. So yeah, so we have all these things. There are a lot of tokens, a lot of cards, and everything. Here are all the various investigators, and essentially what you're doing is you are playing a specific scenario. The various cards will tell you how to set up a certain scenario. You basically get to choose which elder deity, which elder being you are going to be fighting against. And yeah, we have all these characters, and these characters have actually, Fantasy Flight Games has been using a lot of these same characters across all of their Cthulhu games, like Charlie Kane, Jenny Barnes, Dexter Drake. A lot of these characters have been reoccurring ones, just in general, which I think is kind of cool. I especially, Diana Stanley, the reformed cultist, is awesome. Charlie Kane's also a favorite of mine because it's clearly a reference to Citizen Kane. Here are the various scenarios. Yig, Shub-Niggurath, Azathoth, Cthulhu, Yog-Sothoth, and Haster. You can... generally, you can tell which ones come from various expansions because of, like, a lot of the cards from expansions come with certain symbols, like usually in a corner somewhere. I don't see them on some of these, but yeah. Oh yeah, so like this one, like there's a little yellow sign symbol there. There's no symbol in a lot of these here. There's a symbol there for Forgotten Lore. So I really appreciate it when games kind of like clearly show you when something is from something else, essentially to help you sort of like organize and keep track of things. But yeah, you pick a character, you go around the world and you try to manage different things. I guess there's a little bit of a pandemic to it where like different things will happen across the world. And you have to like travel. You have to try to use resources to travel to those places in the world to deal with them, and you also have to try to like investigate to advance the plot before something bad happens. But yeah, so even though a lot of Fantasy Flight Games is like Cthulhu Mythos games, there's a lot of differences. There are also a lot of similarities. So looking at this quick reference guide here, you'll see that each round has an action phase where all the investigators do up to 2 actions, and there's a list of actions there. The encounter phase, where if you have to, like, wherever you are, whichever location each player is in, they have to encounter something, and deal with whatever they're dealing with. And then mythos phase, which is where all the bad stuff happens. Essentially, like, monsters attack, monsters spawn, the bad guys advance their plot, that kind of thing, and then you go back to the action phase and you keep going. This whole system of like action encounter mythos, that's very common with like pretty much every single Fantasy Flight Cthulhu game that I've ever encountered. I played the Arkham Horror card game. I don't own it, but I have a friend who owns it, and he showed it to me, and it's pretty cool. We also have Mansions of Madness, which I'll show in a different video, which also has a similar thing where there's investigator phase and mythos phase and things like that. You can see we have instructions for the different expansion for the two little expansions we have. I'm always very proud of myself when I'm able to package and all of a game's components and their expansions into one box. And for Eldritch Horror and for several other games too, I've been able to do just that. You usually have to take out the insert that comes with it, the thing that like gives you slots for different components. But usually that's fine because everything just kind of fits right in here. Makes the box a little bit heavier, but clearly my wife and I like heavy games. So yeah, it has been a little while since we played this because we're certainly quite spoiled for choice when it comes to Cthulhu games at this point. But I've enjoyed this, and although I will say that as much as I enjoy Eldritch Horror, I think I do enjoy Mansions of Madness a little bit more, which I'll explain a bit more in that video. But I like the fact that there's a little more action hero kind of a vibe here because you're going around the world and trying to deal with all these problems going on, and trying to like split cooperate together to make things work. But anyway, but yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and until next time, all the best.